Thank you very much, everybody, comrades, friends, brothers and sisters. It gives me great pleasure to be speaking here today of all days. It feels like we've had God on our sides all morning. This morning I was at Tony Benn's funeral. I was so pleased to hear us all give a round of applause for such a wonderful and inspiring man, the President of the People's Assembly, who's obviously left behind him a legacy that we're all going to have to live up to now. Tony Benn inspired us, he encouraged us, and he's fought all his life, and it was just a pleasure to be there today. So thank you very much for having me. It was in a abbey very much like this, actually, so it does remind me of this morning. And even though myself I'm not religious, I do study religion at university, actually. It's always interested me, the intersection between politics and religion, and I know Tony had a lot to say about that as well. So it's great to be here with people of all different faiths and all different backgrounds. That's exactly what the People's Assembly should be. It also pleases me to be standing at a pulpit like this because it also reminds me of a situation that Karl Marx was inspired by. He wrote the Communist Manifesto based on his observations of the Paris Commune. The Paris Commune began when working class people of Paris were being oppressed by the ruling class, and the women of Paris ran up a hill and stood in front of the cannons to prevent the soldiers shooting down on them, shooting down on the working class who were hungry, who were tired, who wanted more. The women started that, and as you may know, Paris was then occupied by the people, and the women formed in a church almost exactly like this as well, and they gave their political lectures from a pulpit like this and mobilized the whole of the city. And Karl Marx was absolutely fascinated by how when everybody is involved in a movement, when everybody is struggling together, when they're doing things collectively, when they're doing things equally, how the whole way of life changes. Masses of changes came through. I can't remember them all. I just came to me tonight as I came into the room, but please do look up the Paris Commune, a very inspiring situation. I have to rush off and get a taxi quite soon after this, but I'm supposed to be giving a report back from the groups. I think it was a great exercise to see everybody doing exactly the things that our friend Carl, is inspired by, people self-organising collectively. I managed to get to a couple of the groups. I've got a statement to read, and I've also got some information from the LGBT group. For those that you don't know, LGBT people are massively disproportionately affected by the cuts. LGBT people are often estranged, they often have mental health issues, they're unable to go to university because they're unable to get the funding because they're estranged from their parents and so on. So I think it's one of the areas that's quite often overlooked in terms of funding cuts and need for extra support. So it's great to see that you've got a broad, diverse campaign in Shropshire that LGBT people and people with disability, people of religion and non-religion can all join together and fight together. We also had the NHS group over here, and they've voted on a statement that they'd like me to read out to you today. I'm going to read it now, and hopefully you will all agree with them as well, because we all know that the NHS is the backbone of our society. The NHS is under sustained attack from savage cuts and rapid privatisation. We reject this. We will build the biggest possible campaign to defend our NHS and to keep a public health service that we can provide high quality care, free at the point of need, to all of us when and where we need it. This People's Assembly supports the launch of the Shropshire Defend Our NHS campaign. Let's have a show of hands or a clap, yes. Thank you very much. I think that has been adopted unanimously, as it was at the conference last week, where we also had a lot of debate around the NHS. There was also a workshop at the back for youth services. We didn't go into great detail, but we all know that youth services are being cut. We also know that it's the youth that are facing the brunt of what's going on in society. I spoke at a People's Assembly launch in Rotherham a couple of weeks ago, and an 11-year-old young woman got up and spoke. She was absolutely brilliant. She said, I've never spoken in a public meeting before, but I've been talking to my friends at school, and we all agree that we're going to be facing the cuts more than anybody, and we're the ones that are going to, it's our future here. And we agree that the only way we're going to defeat this government and bring it down is if we all join collectively together. And I just thought, what a brilliant, insightful moment from an 11-year-old. We also had on Newsnight a couple of years ago when the students took to the streets, there was a 15-year-old who said, I'm 15 years old. You're taking away our opportunity to go to university. You're taking away our EMA, which is a pocket money. There are no jobs. And then you're going to blame us for having to turn to crime to feed ourselves. It was almost a prophetic moment. Only 6 months later, we had youth across the country rising up, what we called the riots, resisting against what's happening to them. And I think we have to absolutely be clear that if this government keeps doing what they're doing, people will rise up. As the Tunisian poet said, he who sows thorns reaps wounds. If they keep doing this to us, we will keep rising up, and that's exactly what we have to do here today. And this is why I'm here from the People's Assembly. Comrades called it headquarters. It's a little tiny room, and there's 2 part-time people working there. We can't quite afford full-time people, but they are running 100 groups across the country, or they've helped set up, should I say, 100 groups across the country so far. We desperately need money, we desperately need funding. I brought with me some membership, or not membership, what do we call them now? Contributors forms, if you like. If you'd like to make a regular donation of £1 a month, or as much as you can, I've put them at the back there. I've also bought some flyers for the national demonstration on the 21st of June. Somebody's already asked me, where's the man that asked me earlier, how are we going to get to London? I think you guys are going to probably organise coaches or trains or however it's going to work, so make sure you do put your name on a mailing list if you haven't done already, and get down to London, where hopefully there'll be thousands and thousands of people, not just from People's Assemblies. We've got the National Union of Teachers is also fully backing the demonstration, and many more unions are coming on board every day. There'll be other anti-cuts groups, there'll be schools, there'll be LGBT campaigns, everybody coming together on that day to say to the government, what are we going to say to the government? We will rise up. If they keep doing this to us, we will rise up. And it's not just to stop the cuts, but it's as the Paris Commune did, is to fundamentally change the society that we live in for a more equal society, for a more just society, one where we're all looking after each other. And I hope you all agree with me. It's been a great start to the Shropshire People's Assembly. Thank you very much for having me, and hopefully I'll see you around, see you on the streets.